I've been going through a lot lately. I'm still supposed to be making a couple videos, but I want to. This talks about. I'm going to be speaking in code because YouTube lately. Before I get into this, has been deleting people's channels. They're going through another purge and a call for an uprising. He said that about maybe 2, 3 of his channels got knocked or whatever. They got striked. And YouTube is doing it now where they won't give you 3 strikes, they'll just automatically delete you. So I have to be careful of what I officially say. So I'm going to title this video Obama's Trademark. If you know who Obama is, when you actually speak to God and God's revealed to you who Obama is, then you know. And if you know what a trademark is, then you also know what that means. So but before I get into this, I've been having a lot of shift change dreams lately, and God has been showing me that we're gradually getting closer to the shift change. Every time now that that I get a shift change dream, something happens, and to sidetrack for a couple minutes because I have no really the videos that I have due coming up that I'm going to be making. I don't know where I'm going to put this, so I'm going to say this. Well, currently, right now, Greece is on fire. And if you don't know the significance of Greece, literally, Greece is where Tom Hanks decided to declare a citizenship. And why did Tom Hanks decide to declare a citizenship in Greece? Because pedophilia is legal in Greece. And guess what? And you want to know how they made it legal? They basically said that if you're a pedophile and if you're a pyromaniac, it is labeled as a disability. So, not going to go into that, but regardless of whether it's the government or God or whatever the case is, then Greece is randomly on fire. I don't feel sorry for Greece. I feel sorry for the people, the good people that are there. But, the country itself, no. Then also, in current news, there are cicadas, which apparently are flies, which I think they're worse than locusts. They've been circling around the White House, and they've been stinging people, and they've been stinging people like Joe Biden. And if you know Joe Biden is not a person, well, you know that. So just wanted to talk about that, and so there's that, and then the shift change video. Shift change really is that I had a dream. What was I doing? I had a dream. It was weird. It involved squirrels and me and my brother or whatever the case is, but it involved music. And the dream was, when I keep saying how real my dreams are becoming and how real they are, just remembered one. Literally, there's a CD, because I talked about how in another dimension I'm an artist, and I actually got to see that in another dimension I perform I perform by myself in another dimension, and also in another dimension I have my own band. And actually I was actually shown that today. I can play instruments, all this other stuff, and I'm also an artist. But in this dream, it was just a random dream that was just weird and came out of nowhere. A CD. It felt there was a CD in my room. If you've seen, an artist a CD, and literally the dream was so surreal that in the midst of me waking up, the CD was literally floating in my room, and it had my name on it and these 2 musicians that I listened to, NF and Hopsin, and basically it was so surreal. That actually happened to me again today. And so I just want to say that. And also, too, when I talked about how the shift change will happen suddenly and people won't notice, I'll actually be one of the people that actually will remember. But basically, I was asleep in my room, and I talked about in one of my previous videos about how basically I went to sleep and then I woke up somewhere. And it was just a quick glimpse, but literally when I woke up, I was somewhere else in a different room in a different house, and there's this ball that the only thing I remember is seeing is these bright yellow lights and this ball that that's similar to in Toy Story. I actually do like Toy Story, but I haven't watched that movie in years, the original. But so I just wanted to say that out there, and also want to so since that's done, I want to sit here and talk about this now. And I can't believe I'm actually making this video, because this stuff is obvious at this point. I'm not going to bring a Bible, because if I sit here and I read the Bible, it's going to take up a lot of minutes. The max my phone can do is like 30 minutes. So I'm going to sit here and say this. Obama's trademark. I'm going to talk about what's in... Hold on. Wow, that just happened. That actually just happened. I want to talk about this. Behold a Pale Horse by William Cooper in another video. Hold on. Get this paper out. Actually have to write all this down. In the Bible, it talks about anybody that receives Obama's trademark, because apparently you can't say the beast anymore, or it triggers the algorithm somehow. So I'm just going to say Obama's trademark. In the Bible, it talks about the Devil's Trademark. And if you receive the Devil's Trademark, it talks about basically anybody who received the Devil's Trademark, they break out in boils and blisters, and obviously they go to hell, and, they'll be screaming, let the mountains fall and all this other stuff, right? So, basically, this is so obvious, and they're flaunting it in people's faces, that literally, when it says in the Bible that God is going to send an angel, it's a metaphor. Obviously, he's going to send an angel to certain people, but literally his chosen people, his prophets, and the people that actually know what this is, he will go out and tell people, even people that actually don't even believe in God, actually know what this is. He will go out and he basically will pour on his spirit, and basically he will tell people that this is it. That this is it, and it is becoming clearer and clearer every day. And so I want to read these symptoms that people have been getting from their medicine. In other words, since I can't say the V word, I'm going to be using the word medicated and medicine, since that won't trigger that algorithm. Actually, I have to think of this stuff. So symptoms of receiving the Devil's Trademark are boils and blisters. Well, it actually turns out that now God's making it even more obvious, because people are coming out with more severe symptoms. So I'm going to sit here and read this. Severe headaches that can last up to 2 to 3 weeks. For men, since I didn't know how this affected men, if you do take the Devil's Trademark, you can't get an erection. An erection, no morning wood, no night wood, you can't get an erection. Infertility, brain clots and brain disorders, neurological disorders. Dead within 24 hours. Read a story of a lady actually passed by my TV in my room. She died within 12 hours. Some people, they die by the second medication. Severe periods and bleeding. A guy's skin came off on his legs, and he had a severe rash on his back. People are waking up blind. You just don't get medicated one day and you wake up blind. That doesn't happen. Does not happen. People are also becoming paralyzed. People are also randomly freezing. I posted a video it's in one of my shorts on my video, so you can refer to that. People can no longer feel the presence of God. Post-nasal drip, eczema, HIV, and AIDS. This actual bug that's going around. Let's say that. Bell's palsy, and I already said headaches that last 2 to 3 weeks, and yeah, so, and then there's also another one where people's skin is coming off their, remember reading a story, a lady I follow, her name is called What's Her Face. She said, had a video where a lady that was a test subject, she actually, her foot was rotting, and it was bleeding, and it was decaying, and her foot basically was coming off. So, couldn't be more obvious. But, and I'm not going to say that I can't say certain words due to the algorithm and the whole thing going on, but new information has been coming out. So Shauna from Change is Coming said that this is it, and I woke up to a lot of the stuff, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is like months ago. At first, I didn't think it was it, because at the time, months ago, actually last year, it wasn't obvious. It was just stated that they just want to inject, they want to give you medicine, and that's it. It wasn't as obvious. But now that it's bright as day and clear, and with New York basically saying that you can't, if you don't have a medical passport, you cannot enter New York. That is obvious, that's bright as day. And also what's going on in France and 10 or 20 different other countries, people are banning with the police, and people are banning together, and they are burning their passports, and they are basically saying no to communism, which we've always been communist. America has, but I gotta make another video about that. So, it couldn't be more obvious. You can't buy, eat, sell, you can't work, you're segregated, you basically have no rights, you basically are imprisoned, you are no longer a person. These are all things that celebrities, politicians, they're making it obvious. The government is saying day by day with the stuff that's going on. People are saying it's a prelude. It's not a prelude. It's the actual real thing, except they actually haven't turned on these towers that exist, which will come into play real soon. But I want to talk about this because recently on Instagram, how people have been shown that how people have been putting magnets on their body, and how basically they're magnets, basically, hence why these towers are built. So it's also dawned upon people. A man did a video of UV light, black light, ultraviolet light. That basically, if you get ultraviolet light and you put it on your body, there's a spot on your body that doesn't move. And then they also, in the video, I can't post that video on YouTube because I'll get banned. I actually can't afford to get banned because then they'll like ban my email and stuff. But, and then basically it was on one of his arms, and then there's like a vein that wasn't human, let's say that, on his other arm. Bright as day. And also can also post this other TikTok that I listened to, and the lady was talking about how randomly they've been hiring people, construction workers or whatever the case is. They've been building black lights. And black lights basically are UV lights, so they can detect if you've been medicated or not. In which case, how else? It's bright as day. How else would you not be able to detect if someone has been medicated or not? Ultraviolet light, X-rays, which is basically what that is. And people don't get it. And actually, they've been deleting that video with the man with the old man in the ultraviolet light, because people are questioning what's actually in their body. And it's too late. If this stuff hasn't been forced on you, or whatever the case is, then it's too late. If you openly, willingly took that, and you passively accepted it within your spirit that you wanted this, it is too late for you. And you might as well, and you chose what you got, and you might as well live it up while you can. Actually got to talk about, this video is going to be pretty long. So, there's that. But also, if this stuff, and also have to emphasize on this, if this stuff has been forced on you, like for example, you have $5 in your savings account and you can't afford to not have a job, and you line up and you take the shot, and for whatever reason, you take it, even though you're against it. As long as in your spirit, Shauna from Change is Coming explain this, and I was always wondering about this when I read in the Bible. As long as in your spirit you don't accept Obama's trademark or the Devil's Trademark, you won't get persecuted and you won't go to hell. God will remove that when shift change comes or whatever the case is, and when things hit the fan, basically you decide, I don't know, when things get the fan, when things actually hit the fan, that personal decision is up to you. It's up to you. But for everybody else that's lining up and forcing people, not that isn't getting forced, but they're willing to take it, those people are in hell, or they're going to hell. So I wanted to emphasize on that. But so I talked about that. I don't have my pen. Also, it's becoming more and more obvious because outside of these passports and these mandates, I talked about in one of my videos of how randomly they've been discovering viruses. Viruses. Well, turns out, they're actually creating these viruses. Well, duh. But also, these variants. They're going to keep using the excuse of variants over and over and over again so people can sit here and they can get medicated. If people don't want to get medicated, then that's why these laws exist for, taking away everything you own and all other stuff. I got to do another video about taking everything you own, which is also in the World Economic Forum. You will own nothing and be happy. In another video, and that'll be called "They Don't Care Anymore," because they really don't. But in recent news, since people are waking up, the government is making it to where it is becoming illegal for you to speak out against the CDC, Dr. Fauci, and the president, which is communism, which on Timcast IRL, he's actually interviewed two people who have fought against, I wouldn't say fought against communism, but have fled against communism. One of them was a woman that was like in her 40s or 50s or something, and she was under the reign of Mao Zedong, who came into power before the current, he's a Chinese communist. And then there's another woman, a young woman who's probably in her 20s or 30s now, and she stays in Chicago, and she's another Asian lady who literally escaped the reign of Kim Jong-un. And I said in one of my previous videos how there's two forms of communism. There's Chinese communism, which it's advanced to improve for economically and all other stuff for the betterment of society, so you can get around and for a lot of purposes. And then there's North Korea communism, where the people are poor, your side of the country is rich, and basically your image is God, basically, with no technology at all whatsoever, no Bible, no nothing. You are God. So there's that. So that's communism, and people do not care. This also plays into the end times with Obama, and how you won't be able to speak out against this person, and if you do, you'll get persecuted. This also connects to with Joe Biden saying that anybody that revolts against the government, he's only a devil would say this, but he's also right, because I do agree with him. He said that anybody that tries to revolt against the government will get blown up. To smithereens, and he basically said that he would kill people that would try to overthrow the government. In Psalms in the Bible, and in the Old Testament, it talks about in Psalms about how the people are. I'm butchering this completely, but the people are nothing without God, and people consistently talk about a revolution happening, people overthrowing the government, all this other stuff, when in actuality, without God, people will never win. They have satellites, they got hybrid soldiers, psychic children, they got tanks, they got, nukes, bombs, you name it. The people will lose. But with God on the people's side, the people will prevail. The people lose, God wins. God always wins. So, and this also connects to moving off the grid, and how basically in the end times you won't basically be safe anywhere. You can flee to certain countries like Africa or New Zealand, which I would recommend. But in the grand scheme of things, eventually it's going to come for you. Well, he's going to come for you. And God, technically. But so there's that. And then there's also a trailer that came out about this medication. Let's go with that. This medication is the Devil's Trademark, Obama's trademark. There's a trailer that came out called Why the Last Man, and in Why the Last Man, it's based off of an independent comic book that basically a virus happens, it wipes out people, generic plot line that you see in TV shows or whatever, and it comes out, and basically, but there's a scene in the trailer where people start falling like dominoes, like literally like dominoes, people start falling one after the other, and basically it's empty. That's what they're going to do when they start turning on these towers. People that have gotten medicated, people that have lined up to get medicated, they'll start falling. That or they'll either start turning into zombies, devils. And in which case, literally, once you and this is what people also don't seem to understand. Once you line up and you get this willingly, it's different if it's by force. Willingly, when you take this, you are selling your soul. Scariest movie ever. Watch something on BitChute because he left YouTube. Once you get this shot, you are selling your soul completely. You are completely gone. There is no hope for you at all whatsoever, unless this has been forced upon you. People are curious about how this pertains to how this has anything to do with the real thing. Well, guess what? Graphene oxide. I don't study this. Thank God. I follow Change is Coming and a bunch of other people. Didn't know what that was. And it turns out that I actually saw that in a movie I just got done watching last week called Parallel on Amazon Prime. It's actually a real good movie. But literally, I pay attention because all these devices that they that they bring in these movies are stuff that they have in real life. And so basically, to short things up, basically it gets to the point where this dude and his group of friends are coming out consistently out of this mirror, going to different dimensions and getting technology. And one of the things he gets is graphene oxide. It basically, but it's like used in a way of like a screen protector for your phone, but you can just scroll through it without putting on it a surface. Now they're using it. Now they're saying that you can use it for healthcare. It can store water and all this other stuff, right? So, long story short, graphene oxide has to do with a component that is in nanotechnology. They're going to end up putting that in the water. They're going to end up putting the Devil's Trademark in the water because if they can't force you to get it, they'll just drug you to get it. In which case, this is a tactic that was used with Hitler when he was, I don't even know if I could say the J word, when he was putting fluoride in the water for a certain group of people. This same tactic is literally what Obama is doing. Well, we can say that because, that's who this person, the Bible talks about. And just about everything these people are doing are Nazi tactics that they did in World War II, which is why it is important to study history. But I'm sidetracking myself. So you have this medication that came out. This medication, can't say the V word. This medication that came out, and now you have graphene oxide that looks literally like a barcode or whatever you want to call it. Put that on your body. And they give the excuse that you can use this for healthcare, literally. And then there's and the reason why they want to keep saying why you have to continue to get other medications. I don't even know if other stuff along with this shot is because it's a gradual process of you losing your soul. Even though technically once you get the medication, you already lost your soul. But it's bright as day, like. They just need to continuously need to keep injecting you with this stuff over and over again until you become less human, until you become a slave. And that's why these towers exist. That's why these towers exist, because once they turn these towers on, if you don't drop dead and they don't turn you into a zombie, the nanotechnology, the graphene oxide in your body, which is already on your body, is basically going to multiply. It's going to multiply, and it is going to spread all throughout your system. And once it spreads all throughout your system, you're done. You become a complete slave, and that's when you can see the seal of the beast on people's foreheads, like the number 666, and how it says, people say it's a metaphor or whatever, and how basically it could say how it says being on your right hand on your forehead. Literally, The nanotechnology will be everywhere, all throughout your body. And also, in recent, there's actually an article that came up. My God, I totally forgot what it was. I was supposed to actually write it down, but I didn't. But basically, I'm summing this up. Basically, they came out and they said that they have figured out a way through biology, or it involves genetics. A way for these people to literally alter the human DNA and write whatever they want inside the human DNA. And they use it in the name of bacteria. Why does an article like that, all of a sudden, with all this stuff coming on, come out of nowhere? Why are they in Antarctica or Alaska digging up viruses that have been around for hundreds of thousands of years? Why are there GMO mosquitoes being released in Florida? Why is Y the Last Man, which is an independent comic book, having their trailer where a bunch of people are falling like dominoes? Why is Obama on the History or Discovery Channel literally depicted as God's adversary? You can't make this stuff up. People, it amazes me that I have to do this. It's almost 30 minutes, but it amazes me how blind people are. And I have to say this because this is something that actually God has put on my chest. You can read the Bible all you want to. You can read whatever conspiracy you read to, but this is for people who read the Bible. There are a lot of people that, I have a video on my friend who abandoned his faith. That man knew the Bible from front to back. It doesn't matter if you read the Bible from front to back. It's about your character, where your heart is, and where your intelligence is at. This is why God gives people a brain. If something this obvious is in front of people's faces, but this person, God's adversary, hasn't popped up yet, that should tell you that everything that is happening now is going to happen down the line after people disappear, after Christians disappear, including children. Something this obvious still hasn't stuck with people, and yet people want to sit here and put their salvation in people who they think they trust, but they can't get on their knees and pray to God, which literally shows how people claim to believe in God, are reading the Bible, doing all this other stuff, but here you are, you're listening to false prophets, and you're listening to someone like your pastor or some guy you discovered on YouTube. Truth Unedited said that is this medication and he said no, that's a complete lie, because if it wasn't, why are they using this medication and graphene oxide where they can literally just put it on your skin, and these towers and a lot of other things that I just mentioned? This stuff is already set up. Literally, this stuff is already set up. It is bright as day. You can't, by the time September hits, you cannot enter New York unless you have a medical passport. And they're already working on it in the other 49 different states. They're just seeing how it works out in New York. It's bright as day, and people still don't get it. People say it's a prelude to something or whatever the case is. It's not a prelude, because literally when a shift change happens, God is going to bring back a bunch of dead people, which God's adversary will say, I've done all these things, and people still won't get it. So I just wanted to sit here and make this video, even though it's about 30 minutes. But also, I also want to sit here and say that there's some people that are absolutely hopeless, completely hopeless. I actually told a guy about not getting medicated, and literally I explained, I had almost an hour conversation with him on the phone, and he said the next day he was supposed to literally go to the doctor and get this. And guess what? I sent him a bunch of information, articles, screenshots, and he still lined up and he got it. And this is a person that read the Bible, I went to small group with for church and everything, and he still lined up and got it. Some people are hopeless, and that's all I gotta say. So that's all I gotta say. I got another video I gotta make. So yeah, I hope you guys have a blessed day. You guys got something out of this, and comment, like, subscribe, and all that other stuff. Oh my God. So yeah, sorry my phone fell.